the last video we discussed for what is the need, for what reason we should conserve biodiversity. So here in this video we shall discuss that how to conserve the biodiversity, or what are the ways to conserve biodiversity. Actually, when we conserve or protect the whole ecosystem, then the complete biodiversity at all level is protected. That is, we save a forest in order to save the tiger. So for that case, the complete biodiversity is saved. But this approach we call it as in situ conservation. But when there are situations that when a particular species or when a particular animal or plant is endangered or threatened, then there will be an urgent need to save the particular plant or animal from its own extinction. So then such kind of conservation, or the desirable approach for this conservation, for this dangerous, is ex situ conservation. So in situ conservation and ex situ conservation. So when we deal with in situ conservation, so here so now we are going to deal with the in situ conservation. So when a nation is facing its conflict with the development and conservation, that is it is very difficult for the nation, that is it is very unrealistic and it is economically too tough to conserve all their biological wealth. So it is very difficult for them to conserve the biological level at all levels. So because of this conflict they have based between the development and the conservation. So when this number of species when we take about the number of species that has to be conserved, that is, the conservation resources are less when we compare the conservation resources we have. So the number of species that are about to become extinct are high when we compare with the conservation resources for what we have actually. So this problem has become an eminent has been addressed by many of the eminent conservationists. So many people or many persons who tell about this or when we talk about this biodiversity, this is up to a major problem. So this biodiversity which are hotspots are the things which are identified for the maximum protection. That is, this shows high levels of species richness and high degree of endemism. So endemism is nothing but a particular species is confined to that region and it is not found anywhere else. So it is in a particular region it is confined and it is not shown out in any other places, and it is very special to the place, that is, it is only available there. So actually we had 25 hotspots initially, but it was very important, and subsequently we had to add 9 more. So total number of biodiversity hotspots in the world are 34. So these hotspots we can also taken as the regions of accelerated habitat loss. So some of them hotspots are Indo-Burma, Sri Lanka, Western Ghats and Himalaya. When we talk about Himalaya, it covers our country's maximum of that is, country's exceptional high biodiversity region is considered as Himalaya. So countries takes our high biodiversity region. So country's biodiversity region, so it covers our high diversity region. Even if we put together all the hotspot regions of the total world, only 2%, that is, they form only 2% of the Earth's land area. But the species which are put together, or species which are harbored here, are extremely high, and because of the strict protection in these hotspots, it has reduced the ongoing mass extinction to about 30% of the mass extinctions are reduced. So when we talk about India, especially India here, the ecologically unique and biodiversity rich regions are legally protected as biosphere reserves, national parks and wildlife sanctuaries or sanctuaries. So in India we totally we have 14 biosphere reserves, 90 national parks and 448 wildlife sanctuaries. So India is actually, we know that India is a region of religion, culture and has certain traditions. So leaving the tracts of forest aside, many trees and wildlife within are actually venerated and they are given the total, that is the very strict protection. So some of the sacred groves in India are Khasi Hills and Jaintia Hills, which is in Meghalaya, Aravalli Hills in Rajasthan, in Western Ghat regions like Karnataka and Maharashtra. So the Western Ghat regions of Karnataka and Maharashtra, Sarguja, and in Madhya Pradesh the Chanda and Bastar areas. So these are the very sacred groves that are found in actually in India. So when we take Meghalaya here, the sacred groves that are maintained here are the last refuges of the large number of rare and threatened plants. So it is certain are extinct or certain are about to be extinct. So here it serves as the last refuge there in the Meghalayas. So now it is we dealt with the in situ conservation. So now it is ex situ conservation. Here when we talk about this, here a particular species or an animal is taken out from their habitat, that is the place where it is living. So it is taken out from the home and it is placed in a special place where it can be protected and given out special care. So such places we call it as zoological parks, botanical gardens and wildlife safari parks. So these all serve this purpose of protecting the threatened animals or maybe plants. So actually there are many plants that have become extinct in the wild, but still they are continued to be maintained in the zoological parks. So there are species which have become extinct outside, but in the zoological parks it is remaining and it is conserved here, that is it is protected and it is safeguarded and given special care here. So here there are in recent years when we compare this ex situ conservation as advanced. So first we have discussed that the ex situ conservations give only protection and give special care for the threatened animals and plants, but to an advanced level the gametes are taken out here. That is the gametes of here this threatened species are protected here, that is they take the gametes of these very economically important species of plants or animals maybe which are leading which are about to be extinct. So they take so that they keep the gametes in the viable or fertile condition for a long periods using the technique of cryopreservation. So using this technique they are preserving, making the gametes viable or fertile. So egg it is fertilized in vitro, whereas the plants are propagated using tissue culture methods. So here the seeds are of different genetic strains which are important for commercial and which are commercially important are kept here for a long period and we call them as seed banks. So the place where seeds are of different genetic tracts are stored here, we call them it as seed banks. So we also know that so we have come to the conclusion of the lesson. So here on the whole we know that there is no political boundaries for the biodiversity and its conservation. So all the people or all the nation in the world is collectively responsible for this biodiversity conservation. So the historic convention on biological diversity, that is the Earth Summit, which was held in Rio de Janeiro in 1992 called upon all nations to take an appropriate measure for the conservation of this biodiversity and the sustainable utilization, that is to a limited amount it has to be taken out and only for a particular benefit. So sustainable utilization of its benefits. So on following this summit came the World Summit on Sustainable Development, which was held in 2002 in Johannesburg, South Africa. So here the 190 countries pledged their commitment to achieve by 2010. So the current this is a significant reduction in the current rate of biodiversity, that is loss at global, regional and local levels. To commit this achievement, that is to give out a sustainable development, this pledge was taken out by 190 countries. So thank you.